Good morning. It's May 30th, 2025, and I just wanted to come up and talk to you about something that I learned today in devotions, and I was really excited about, so I figured I'd share it with you. I wrote it down in my book, so I have my book with me today so that I can look inside my book. But let's start off with your affirmations. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You are excited. Be excited. Be excited about life. You're alive. You're looking at people and you might have a hard time, but you know what? You are awesome. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You are unique. Always tell these things. Tell yourself in the mirror. Tell your friends, tell your family. Go to a restaurant, go to a hotel, wherever you go. Tell people that they're amazing. Tell them that you really like them, that you thank them for everything they do. There's a server at one of the restaurants that I eat at. And I don't eat at many restaurants because I have a lot of food allergies. I have 13 of the 14 major food allergies. So eating out is very difficult for me. But one thing that I love to do is I love to tell my servers that I'm at the restaurant that I normally go to, hey, you're just awesome. I am so thankful. Has anybody told you how wonderful you are today? And just to see them light up in their faces, they might have had a really rough day. If you were ever a server, I was a server in my past life. I was a server when I was a lot younger. And back then we were called waitresses. And there was times I could not stand being a waitress. At times. I mean, there's times I made good money. I mean, $2.13 an hour, and then I made whatever tips I got after that. And if it was a Friday or a Saturday, hey, I was bouncing. If it was a Sunday, not so much. But there were days that I just wanted to go home. Oh, my word. I remember I worked in a college town, and I'm sure if you've ever been a server in a college town, you understand. And these college kids would come in and they would drive me batty. They would all order water. They would put lemon in their water with a packet of sugar. And they might order one side, like fries or something like that. They would all eat it together. And then they would take a quarter and put the quarter inside the bottle, the cup of water. So frustrating. I got a whole quarter as a tip. And they only ate fries. And there'd be 13 or 14 of them. And they'd all order water. Oh, my word. How annoying. If you're a college student like that, just know that's very annoying. Very, very annoying. So anyway, that's not what I came up here to talk to you about. But if you ever do go to a restaurant or something, just tell your server, hey, you're awesome. I thank you so much for your work. Even if you're not having a good server day, tell them that they're awesome because they're having a bad day and they just need to hear it. Encouraging, especially servers or people, clerks at the gas station, things like that. Just do it. Just do it even if you're not having a good day. Encourage them because they need to know the love of God. Even if you feel like strangling somebody, go up to them and just hug them if you can, if you're allowed to. Or go into a gas station. Say, hey, I just want to tell you God loves you. Hey, I just want to tell you you're awesome today. That will go a long way. Anyway, so what I came up here to talk to you about today was not giving up. I know it's so easy. It's so easy in life just to give up and not keep on going. I know that from experience. I know that from now. It's just so many things, one after the next. You're like, oh my word. When my children were young, I went through everything, even before they were born. I went through miscarriages. We lost a child. Like, it was one thing after the next, and nothing would stop. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And it was a long, arduous process. I had one miscarriage that I couldn't let go of the miscarriage. I mean, I couldn't let go of my children. I was pregnant with identical twins, and I told them they could not take them. But the doctors kept saying, but you've miscarried them. And I was like, no, God is going to bring them back to life. He has to. I remember going to a church service, and the lady said, you've got to let God take care of you. You've got to give up your daughters. I was like, no way. I am not giving up my daughters. I had identical twins, and evidently what had happened was one had formed a heart, and the other one had formed the lungs, and they were feeding off of each other. Well, I carried them almost to a second trimester when they realized what had happened, and the one passed away, and of course the other one took a little while longer, but she passed away as well because she didn't have the lungs to survive. Oh my word, it was so devastating. It was so hard. It was, I believe, our third or fourth miscarriage. And I just knew God had promised me some kids, and I just knew that these were going to be the ones, but it didn't happen. I couldn't give up on God, though. I couldn't give up on my life. Oh man, I tell you what, it was hard. It was so hard. I finally ended up having to have surgery and them removing my both children because I couldn't pass them. And it was devastating. I was so overcome with grief that it was crazy. And then in the midst of all the grief, I ended up having surgery. And I was still coming off that grief, and my dad died. And I was just like, are you kidding me? But there was something in my heart that said, don't give up on God. And as much as I wanted to give up on God, I couldn't give up on God. I knew that there was something. There was going to be something. He had made me a promise. He had made me a promise that I was going to have children. And after all these miscarriages, and after my stillborn, I still didn't have children. And I was so angry and so frustrated. And now my dad is gone. And I didn't know what to do. And I prayed. And I had other people pray for me. And I had gone into the Bible. And I had looked up verses after verses after verses that God had promised me this. And I just needed to hold on to God. Because He knew something more than I did. He knew that there was an ending. There was a good ending. But there was an ending to this grief and this pain. Just like in my surgery. We never thought I would ever walk again. They weren't even sure I was going to live through surgery. But I did. And I did walk for 30 some odd years. On my own. Without any help from anybody. Occasionally I had help, but most of the time I walked on my own. I had so much after that surgery that no one ever thought any of that was ever possible, but I did. So I had to hold on to the fact that God brought me through that surgery. God brought me through that possibility of dying and losing my life. I had already been told that I was going to die before the surgery, and I made it through surgery. I made it to surgery, which was strange in itself, and then I made it through surgery, which was a very low in possibility, and I came out of surgery, and I didn't have to use a cane or a wheelchair. I actually walked on my own, and that was a praise in itself. So I knew that God could get me through. I just wanted so badly to have it at the now. But that wasn't His choice. His choice wasn't for the now. His choice was for the future. So I had to hold on to Him. And I couldn't give up. I wanted to know what was at the end of that tunnel. I wanted to know what was next. I was like that when I was a little girl too, even before I became a Christian. I was always wanting to know, well, what happens next? I had to hold on just so I could see what happened next. After the death of my daughter, oh my word, that was the hardest thing that I had ever dealt with my entire life. And I am going to say it probably would have been even in this life now. But I had to find out what happened next. That was the whole reason I didn't give up. I had to find out what happened next. I'm that curious type of person. And even in my older life, now that I'm 50 years old, I have to see what happens next. That's the whole reason I'm not giving up. I have to see what happens next. What happens next? What is the next thing? I don't want a next thing as being bad. I just want to know what's next. So anyway, I was reading in scripture. One of the things that I'm learning about this week is keeping that faith and holding on to it. And that's in my mindset right now. That's what I'm not struggling with keeping my faith because I have my faith and I'm holding on to it. I just want to not struggle with everything else too. I don't want all the thoughts and processes of all the negative things coming at me all the time, hitting me constantly. And you're asking, well, what kind of negative things do you have? Well, I have the things like, well, you can't walk, so how good are you? You sit in the chair all day, so what good are you? You know, those play in my mind all the time. And I hear people talk about them too. And I sit there and think to myself, yeah, what good am I? What good am I? I mean, I literally just sitting in a chair all day long. And I let the dogs out. Occasionally I go out with my friends like I did yesterday, which I had a lot of fun doing. But I'm only good for a couple hours and then that's it. I am exhausted after that. I slept like a baby last night. I went to bed at 10 o'clock and I slept until almost 8 o'clock this morning. The night before that, I did the same thing. The night before that, I did the same thing. Now, there's some nights that I'll stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning and I can't fall asleep until 3 or 4 in the morning. But those only happen once in a blue moon. I'm just tired. My body is tired. So I do have the negative thoughts. I don't want them in my head. I don't want to keep second questioning myself constantly. Why is God still using me? I can't walk. I mean, I wobble. That's about as good as I get. You can ask my friend. I don't go up on curbs. I can get up on a small curb by myself. But curbs, I just look at it and I think to myself, okay, it's just a mountain. I can get over this, but I need help. So anyway, so I'm going through this devotion set right now, and it's kind of to help those negative thoughts that I keep having, that people keep actually asking me questions. Well, what good are you? Or my favorite one has been, well, if you love God so much, then how come you're handicapped? You know, God uses handicapped people too. Just saying. Anyway, so it's out of Proverbs 24:16, and I'm just going to read you the first part. Second part I didn't quite understand, so I'm sorry, the light in my glasses is driving me nuts, but I have to use my glasses to read. It says, though the righteous fall, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. You're more than welcome to read the whole verse. Though the righteous fall, they rise again. Think about that. Yes, we fall. Sometimes we fall a little bit harder than we would rather fall. Sometimes we don't know what we're getting ourselves into, and we fall. So I wanted to tell you, with the preface of this is we can't give up. We will rise again. We will get back on top. There is another side of this somewhere. It's something. What is it? I don't know. But it's there. It's gotta be there because God knows it's there. God is using us. God has caught us. We may not feel that God caught us. There's some days that I fall on the floor and I'm just like, I have these bruises on my legs and I think there was nobody there. But there was. I may not feel him, but he's there. When I stabbed my eye in the trash can a few months ago, it didn't go into me. It could have pierced my eye completely, but it didn't. It just got into the cross of it. Thank God I didn't go straight through because it would have gone straight into my brain. But there was a God, and he was holding me. and he was making sure that, yes, I stumbled. I fell because I was being stupid. I thought I could walk into the grass, even though it was wet, on my own. And I couldn't. And it was okay. I made it out. I mean, in a lot of pain, and I was crying because it hurt so bad. And I still have a bruise on the corner of my eye from that predicament that I got myself into. But God was there, and I praise God for that. So I wanted to talk to you about not giving up. We had a cat. Her name was Sabrina. She was a black cat. Well, she was charcoal. At one point, she was black, and then she got older, and she became charcoal. As many animals do, they gray out. Sabrina was the youngest of our animals. We had, when she first came to live with us, we had Sabrina, who was the youngest. We had Spike, who was she was pretty older, lizard, but she only came out once in a while. And then she was a bearded dragon. I like dragon. I like lizards. And then we had Madison, who was my cat, and he was a mix of a bobcat and a regular tabby, and he was about 3.5 feet long from his tip of his tail to his nose. So he would try to open the door handles and things like that. He was a great cat. I loved him to pieces. I really did. And then we had Jasmine. Jasmine and Madison had pretty much grown up together. Jasmine was born in 1999, and Madison was born in 1998. So when Chad and I first married, he was about a year old. And then we got Jasmine a few months after we had gotten married. So we had these two animals, and they were brother and sister. They liked all the crazy things, like watching Sesame Street at 8 o'clock every morning, and it was just random things. It was really weird. Madison grew up barking like a dog instead of meowing like a cat, and I don't know. He was just one of those cats. And then we got Sabrina. We had her sister, and her sister died of heart failure. And then we ended up she was a feral cat. Chad found her in a train, and he got her sister first. And then we weren't going to take anybody else. I think Mama Cat ended up dying in this pack. And then we also got, he found Sabrina shortly after her sister had passed away. He found her in the same train car, and she was just squished all the way up into the back. And so he brought her home, and we gave her to my oldest daughter for her 4th birthday. So anyway, Sabrina was almost like the backup animal. Like, she would come out once in a while. She wasn't really social. She didn't really like anybody but Sabrina and me. But Samantha and I. That's the only two that she really cared for. She always hissed at Chad. She always hissed at Ariel. She wasn't really big on anybody else that came into the house, except for my friend Hope. She liked Hope. And she didn't really care for the dog, the cat, or anybody else. Madison and her would occasionally, you would see them together, but it would be Sammy or I that would see them together, not really anybody else, because she didn't come out unless Sammy and I were there. So that's how Sabrina was. And she knew that Jasmine was the queen bee of the house. She was the dog. She was Chad's little girl. And then she knew that Madison was my little boy, and that she was Samantha's little girl. So you could kind of tell she kind of viewed Madison and Jasmine as the mother and the father, and she was however animals do that. That's the kind of the way that she viewed everybody. She knew at Christmas time, we would give all sorts of clothes and stuff to Jasmine, and Madison would get treats, and then she wasn't left out, but she got less treats than Madison, and so on and so forth. So it just kind of happened. Well, I remember we had first moved into our house. Well, it was a couple years after we moved in, and we had Samantha, and she was 4, and I had, she was upstairs taking a nap, and I had Madison, Jasmine, and Sabrina, and Chad was at work. And I want to say Ariel was taking a nap, so everybody was sleeping except for the 3 animals. Jasmine was downstairs on the couch. I don't know what she was doing, playing with a toy or something. And then I remember I was upstairs in the loft with Madison. Well, Sabrina came upstairs in the loft. And Sabrina came and she looked out the loft. Now, a loft, like most lofts, has the grid where you can walk out, and the ledge is about that thick. It's not a thick ledge at all. But then it goes down into our living room. And we had the couches underneath, and she just thought, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go and I'm going to jump out because I'm a cat, right? Because I land on all 4s. So that's what she does. I was like, Sabrina, you don't want to go out. She runs out and she just lands on top of the couch. She doesn't land on her feet because I was watching her she landed on her side. So I run downstairs and I pick her up and I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, she landed on her body, and I got her into the car. I got the girls into the car. I said, we got to take her to the vet. I'm afraid she broke something. We took her all the way to the vet. The vet was like, no, she has a body of steel, just like her mind. Her mind was set to jump 14 feet, and she was determined to do it. And she did not land on her feet. Her body did not get hurt. We checked her. They checked her. They did the x-rays. I was so scared that cat had broken something. She broke nothing. She was fine. She had no bruises. She was okay. She was up, walking around, acting the normal self, as she always did. I was so freaked out. And, she didn't jump back right away. We don't either. When we jump out, because God says, okay, let's leap in faith. We go leap in faith and we fall. And we might hurt ourselves. We might fall, and we just don't want to get back up. We don't want to try it again. I do it all the time, I fall in the kitchen because I'm letting the animals out, and I'm dizzy, and that's it. Me on the floor, it might take me 20 minutes to get back off the floor. Is it because I can't get up? Well, kind of. I have to crawl into the living room and whatever, pull up on the couch or whatever. But sometimes it's because I'm afraid if I stand back up, I'm going to fall back down. So I don't get back up. Eventually I will. But something has to be gnawing in my spirit for me to get off the floor. In life, that's how it is. After we lost our first set of twins, I didn't want to try again. But we tried again. And I lost the second set of twins. And after the second set of twins, it was a devastation blow. That was a huge blow to me. I did not want to try again. I was not going to try again. Then my dad died. Nope, not happening. But you know what? It did. It did happen. And I got pregnant with Samantha. And I climbed back up. And I was so scared I was going to lose that child. Through the entire pregnancy, I was scared to death that I was going to lose her. Every time I moved, I was scared I was going to lose her. And then when she tried to come early, I was praying, God, please, please don't take another child. Please don't take another child. And as she grew, please don't take her. And I still do it. God, please don't take her. No, don't take her today. I can't handle that. And I had to take that leap of faith. That God knew that I was going to have a daughter. And eventually have 2 daughters. I love them 2 pieces. And I'm so thankful that I have them. And I know I have friends who were never able to have children. They have utilized their nieces and nephews have become their children. Or they help me with my children. And I know that God has a plan for them. And maybe it may not be a mother situation or a father situation. But God still has a plan for them. God still had to let them fall before he could raise them up. Did you hear what I just said? Before someone can raise you up, you have to fall. It's the same thing as if you're broken, somebody can fix you. But if you're not broken, can't be fixed. What a thought. You know, you see these palm trees out here. I live in the Middle Eastern part of the country. Okay? We don't have palm trees like Florida. Florida has palm trees. Florida, it doesn't usually get cold where the palm trees grow. However, in Virginia Beach, palm trees may grow in Virginia Beach, but they're shipped in for one. And it does freeze here. So you have to either cover the palm tree or you have to cut it all the way down so that it's just bark. And it looks really funky. A lot of the trees around here are the same way. They cut these trees to they're just little pieces of the tree because when it freezes, their leaves and their arms and their whatever will freeze, and you don't want that. So you want them to stay warm. Well, the body needs to stay warm, just like human body. And of course, we're not going to cut our arms and legs off to keep us warm, but that's what you do with some of these trees around here. And I know some people are saying, no, you don't have to cut them all the way back, blah, blah, blah. But I do know that from herbology and things like that, if it's a cold area, you need to warm their bodies up. Cutting down their arms will help. So anyway, in order for them to grow to the fullness that they need to grow to the fullness in the warmth in the summertime, they have to be carved back. In order for a vessel to be fixed, it has to break first. Now it can be made into something else. Yeah, that's fine. You can make a vessel into something else. You can add to it if it doesn't actually need to be fixed because it's not broken. But in order for it to be fixed, it has to be broken. In order for it to be raised up, it has to fall. So you have to fall before you're raised up. Sabrina had to fall. She had to fall before she realized that she could do this again. So a couple months down the road, and all of a sudden, here goes Sabrina dive bombing again out of that loft, 14 feet up. Madison looked at her, she looked at him, and they both glanced at me like, are we doing this? I was like, I wouldn't do it. Not me. I would fall. I mean, I was in my 30s, but I was not going to jump 14 feet down. But Madison got on that ledge with Sabrina, and the both of them jumped, and they both landed on the couch. And Madison stayed downstairs. I'll never forget. He just kind of looked up at me like, yep, I'm done. And then Sabrina ran back up the stairs, went back on that little tiny ledge, which is only 2 inches long, or wide, and jumped back down. She ran back up the stairs. She did it like 3 times. Now, as she got older, obviously she couldn't do it anymore, and she was just, that was her. And last week, she was a pin of steel up until this point. After Madison died and after Jasmine died, she was that strong cat. She knew she could do it. She had a head full of steel or something. Her mindset was strong. And that was a legacy that she wanted to live. She didn't want to just be a house cat. She wanted to prove that she could do it, that she was the strong one. So last Thursday, she woke up. She couldn't stand. She was laying in between us, and Chad said that she went to go down the stairs, and he put her on one step, and she just rolled. He put her on the mat in the kitchen, and I went and got her, and I was touching her, and she was whining a little bit to me, but you could tell that she was trying to be as strong as she could. but she wasn't. I took her to the vet, to the hospital, um, and they didn't. They found out that her kidney had given up. She was in a lot of pain, but she didn't want to give up. We all said goodbye to her. I'm sorry. We all said goodbye to her. But that creature, she wasn't going to give up. Not her own. Not at first. It took her a while. She ate her favorite food like you would not believe. Like, that creature took it out of my hand and just started eating the package. And then, even before they gave her the medicine to go ahead, because we were going to put her down, she passed. Her body gave up. It was gone. I don't believe that if her kidney had, if her kidney was still strong, I believe that she'd still be here. They told us that if we had taken her home that night, that she would have passed away before she woke up in the morning. And the fact that she had gone so fast proves that she was ready to go. We all said goodbye. We all told her that we loved her. But she will always remain that cat full of steel in my mind. That was what she never gave up. She made sure that, yes, she didn't fall on her feet the first time. It took her a little while to get back up, but by George, she was going to do it. She wasn't just going to be a house cat. She was going to be something more, and she was going to prove it. And that's what I believe God wants us to do. God doesn't want us to be that just house cat. He wants us to get up. He wants us to move out. Maybe not jump from 14 feet up, but it's kind of the same thing. He wants us to move out. He wants to take us to take a step of faith and to trust in Him and to not give up, because we will rise again. How does it look? I don't know. I've said it before. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it looks like for me. I'm handicapped. I don't walk. Well, I walk a little bit, but not a lot. You know, I can't swim. I can't do a lot of things that I used to be able to do. I can't smell like I used to. I don't taste like I used to. Milk is nasty to me now. I used to love to drink milk. I loved chocolate. I always did. Coffee, chocolate, milk. They were my favorite things, and now I don't like them. Because of whatever. I don't know why. But I have to keep on going. I cannot give up. I can't stop. Someone told me yesterday that, people that give up have lost their fight. But people that keep on going in the midst of their trials, they just keep on going. They're the strong ones. Yes, you may have trials. Yes, you may have miscarriages. Yes, you may lose a job. Yes, things may happen. Family members may die. So many things may happen in your life. But you are not supposed to give up. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. Romans 8:28 says, we know that in all things work together for the good of those who love God. Now, does it look like what you want it to look like? Are you going to have a bed full of gold? I seriously doubt that. Are you planning on becoming a pastor to become rich? Good luck. A teacher? Have fun with that. You want to go through all of these trials to see how good it gets? That's not the way to do it, guys. Romans 15:13 says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. That's my prayer to each of you.